John had 300 stamps. He sold 120 stamps and gave 1/3 of the rest to his brother. We want to know how many stamps did he give to his brother and how many stamps did he have left. So I'm going to write my sentence on the bottom, leaving blanks for my answers. Since I have 2 blanks, that means I'm going to have 2 question marks in my bar model. I'll begin by drawing the full bar and labeling what I'm given in the word problem. So I know that John had 300 stamps. That's the amount that John had in all. So I'm going to label the whole bar 300. I'm also told that he sold 120 stamps. So of those 300, 120 of them were sold. So I'm going to mark off a section as sold and label it 120 because that's how many were sold as we're told in the problem. We're also told that he gave 1/3 of the rest to his brother. So now in my bar model, the light blue section is showing the rest, or what is left over. In order to find out what 1/3 of the rest is, I'm just going to be paying attention to this light blue section because I don't care how many were sold now. So we're going to bring that down and redraw the bar because we're going to have a new total now. Since we know that 120 were sold and that's not important to our problem anymore, we don't want to worry about that part. But we need to use that in order to label the rest. So if I know that the total number of stamps is 300 and 120 were sold, how many were left over? Well, we can figure that out by subtracting. 300 minus 120 equals 180. So from the information given, we're able to right away find out how much is left over. So we'll label that in our bar. Now I can go ahead and break it up into 3 parts because I'm told that he gave 1/3 of the rest to his brother. So I'm going to split the rest, or the remaining part, up into 3 parts. And I'm going to label one of them B for brother because he gives those to his brother. And that's going to be how many stamps he gives to his brother. So I'm going to mark that with a question mark. And since it's a 2-part problem, I'll put A question mark because that's going to be the answer to A. I also can add my other question mark. If 1/3 is what he gave to his brother, then the other 2 boxes represent what is left over. So that's going to answer part B of this problem. How many stamps did he have left? So I'm going to add a question mark there. And you'll see that I also put up 1/3 of 180 because I can now begin to solve. If I want to know how many stamps he gave to his brother, I want to know 1/3 because the part that he gave to his brother is 1 part out of 3 parts in that bar. I want to know 1/3 of 180, which is the total number of stamps that he had left over. I can cross cancel. I'll turn it into a multiplication problem, and I can cross cancel and solve. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So that equals 60. So he gave 60 to his brother. I can put that answer now into my sentence. John gave his brother 60 stamps. In order to find out how many were left over, all I need to do is subtract. I know that there were a total of 180 left over. He gives 60 to his brother, so that means that he's left with 120. So he had 120 stamps left over. Let's review the second problem. Mrs. Butler had 500 beads. She used 2/5 of them to make some necklaces. Then she put the rest equally into 4 bottles. How many beads were there in each bottle? Go and write my sentence on the bottom and draw my full bar. Now I can fill in the information given to me in the problem. Mrs. Butler had 500 beads, so that's how many she had in all. I'm going to label my whole bar 500. I'm told that she used 2/5 of them, so I split my bar up into 5 parts. And I'm going to label 2 of those bars N for necklaces. Now the light blue boxes represent what's left over. So 3/5 of her beads are left over. We're told that then she put the rest equally into 4 bottles. So we're going to bring down the rest, but we're going to make it as 1 bar, but it's going to be the same size. Since we're told that she put the rest equally into 4 bottles, we're going to break this up into 4 parts. I want to know how many beads were there in each bottle. Now I'm going to label one of those boxes with my question mark because I want to know how many beads there were in each bottle. And now that I've had my whole bar model drawn, I can begin to solve. I want to know that my question mark, that bar on the bottom, is 1/4 of that bar. So I want to find 1/4 of 3/5 because I'm bringing that down. And if I look at the first bar, it's actually 3/5 of the whole. So I'm going to multiply 1/4 times 3/5. And I'm going to get 3/20. So that question mark represents 3/20 of the whole. So I know that 3/20 of her beads are in each bottle. But I have to figure out what is the quantity, what is the actual number of beads. So to do that, I'm going to do 3/20 of 500. So 3/20 of the whole amount. I turn it into a multiplication sign and I solve. I can cross cancel, and 20 divided by 20 is 1. 500 divided by 20 is 25. I'll multiply my numerators. 3 times 25 equals 75. So there were 75 beads in each bottle.